I used to think I was lazy. That was the lie. I was not lazy. I was exhausted, overworked, overstimulated, overweight, overwhelmed. And every time I tried to lose weight, I failed. Not because I did not care. Because the fitness industry gave me a plan built for athletes, not broken people trying to survive real life. So every Monday, I restarted. New workout, new diet, new motivation. And every Friday, I quit again. Does that sound familiar? Overweight people usually do not fail because they are weak. They fail because they are trying to transform through punishment. That destroys consistency. And consistency is the only thing that changes a body long term. I remember the exact moment everything changed for me. I was exhausted walking upstairs. My knees hurt constantly. The next morning, I did not join a gym. I walked. That's it. Just walking. 10 minutes. Slowly. Honestly, it felt pathetic at first, but that tiny walk became the most important decision of my life. Most people are obsessed with intensity, but the body changes when movement becomes normal. Not dramatic, normal. And slowly, everything started changing. My sleep, my energy, my mood. And then, the weight started dropping. That is why WALKBURN exists. To save people from the cycle of start, suffer, quit, repeat. They need lower stress, better sleep, more walking. Simple works, but simple is not flashy. That is exactly why I created my free guide. You are not lazy. You are overloaded. No fake motivation, no punishment. Your body is not asking for perfection. It is asking for movement. Walk, burn, repeat. Nobody tells overweight people the truth. Fatigue changes personality. When your body is inflamed, heavy, exhausted, you stop acting like yourself. You become quieter, more anxious, more isolated. You stop wanting photos. You avoid mirrors. You avoid events. You avoid intimacy. And slowly, you disappear from your own life. That is the real cost of obesity. Not just appearance, disconnection. I know that feeling because I lived inside it for years. And what scared me most was not the weight. It was how normal suffering became. That is the danger. Humans adapt to misery frighteningly fast. You tell yourself, this is just aging. This is just life. This is just my genetics. But deep down, you remember what it felt like to feel alive. That memory hurts. And sometimes that pain turns into emotional eating. Nobody talks enough about emotional exhaustion and food. Food is not always hunger. Sometimes food is comfort, escape, sedation, reward, relief. That is why overweight people often eat most at night, because nighttime is when emotions finally catch up. Stress all day, silence at night, and suddenly, the kitchen becomes emotional therapy. I had to face that reality brutally honestly, because until you understand why you eat, you stay trapped inside the cycle. And the cycle is vicious. Stress, eat, regret, shame, repeat. You know what helped break that pattern for me? Walking without distractions. No music, no podcast, no phone, just silence. At first, it felt uncomfortable. Then something strange happened. My brain started calming down. For the first time in years, I could actually hear myself think. Walking became therapy before it became fitness. That changed everything. Because once stress decreases, better decisions become easier. Another thing that changed my body massively. I stopped eating like every meal was my last chance at happiness. That mindset is more common than people realize. Overweight people often eat urgently, fast, distracted, emotionally. So I slowed down intentionally. I started chewing slower, putting the fork down between bites, drinking water before meals. Simple things, but those simple things reduced overeating dramatically. Most fat loss breakthroughs are not dramatic. They are behavioral. And here is another hard truth. Your environment is either making fat loss easier or impossible. If your kitchen is full of ultra-processed comfort foods, you will eventually eat them. Not because you are weak, because your brain is human. So I stopped relying on discipline alone. I redesigned my environment. I made healthy choices visible and unhealthy choices inconvenient. That matters more than motivation ever will. Because motivation disappears, systems remain. One trick that helped me massively, I stopped keeping reward foods in the house. Because exhausted people negotiate with themselves at night. And nighttime negotiations usually end badly, especially after stressful days. Most overweight people do not lose the battle in the morning. They lose it emotionally at night. That realization changed how I approached fat loss forever. Then came another breakthrough. I stopped obsessing over the scale. This is important because the scale can manipulate your emotions. Water retention, stress, sleep, salt, hormones. The body fluctuates constantly, and many people quit because of temporary fluctuations. But your waistline, energy, mobility, sleep, those matter too. Transformation is bigger than numbers. And let me say something controversial. Most overweight people are under-muscled, not just over-fat. Years of inactivity slowly weaken the body. That is why simple walking is powerful at first. It rebuilds movement confidence, and confidence changes behavior. Once people believe change is possible again, their entire posture changes. You can literally see hope returning to their face. One of the biggest lies in modern fitness is that suffering equals progress. No, sustainability equals progress. Because if your plan destroys your mental health, you will eventually escape it. That is human nature. Real transformation should make your life feel more peaceful over time, not more miserable. That is why I tell people to focus on reducing friction, lay out your walking clothes early, prepare simple meals, keep water nearby, create easier decisions, because exhausted brains choose convenience. Use that reality intelligently. And another thing, stop waiting to feel ready. Nobody feels ready. Read that again mentally. Nobody. The people who transform move before confidence arrives. That is the difference. Confidence is built through evidence, and evidence comes from action. Even tiny action. Maybe your first walk is 5 minutes. Good, still walk. Maybe you fail tomorrow. Fine, walk again anyway. The goal is not perfection. The goal is refusing to disappear. That mindset saved my life. And eventually, something unexpected happened. I stopped fantasizing about transformation because I was finally living it. The walks got easier. My breathing changed. My face changed. My posture changed. My confidence changed. And people around me noticed before I did. That is the beautiful part. The transformation sneaks up on you, quietly. But here's the warning. Once you start improving, people will try pulling you back into old habits. Relax. One cheat meal won't hurt. You've changed. Live a little. Most people around you are not trying to hurt you, but your discipline reminds them of their own excuses. Protect your momentum carefully. Early transformation is fragile. That is why community matters, environment matters, identity matters. You need reminders of who you are becoming, not reminders of who you used to be. That is exactly why I created the free guide. You are not lazy, you are overloaded. Because overwhelmed people do not need more guilt, they need clarity. Inside the guide, I explain how to rebuild momentum, how to stop emotional overeating, how to simplify fat loss, how to stay consistent after failure, how walking changes the brain and body together. And honestly, some people watching this are much closer than they think. You do not need to lose 100 pounds immediately. You need your next good week, then another, then another. That is how identity changes. Quiet repetition. One day you wake up and realize you are not the same person anymore. And in the next part, I'm going to expose the hidden dopamine trap that keeps millions of overweight people addicted to starting over without ever truly changing. Because once you understand this, your entire relationship with food, motivation, and discipline starts shifting permanently. Download the free guide below. You are not lazy, you are overloaded. Free for a short period of time. Walk, burn, repeat. Because the real battle is not just physical. And once you understand this, everything changes. Most overweight people are not fighting food. They are fighting exhaustion, mental exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, decision exhaustion. And exhausted people make survival choices. Fast food, sugar, late night eating, skipping movement, comfort eating. Not because they are stupid, because they are overloaded. That is why your environment matters more than motivation. Listen carefully. You do not rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. That changed my entire life, because once I understood that, I stopped trying to become motivated and started building a body that made healthy choices easier. That is the real secret, not willpower, design. For example, one of the first things I changed was this. I stopped drinking calories. No more liquid sugar. Most overweight people are drinking hundreds, sometimes thousands, of invisible calories every single week. One simple switch can literally remove fat gain momentum from your life. Water, black coffee, simple. Again, simple works. Then I discovered something else that helped me massively. Apple cider vinegar. 2 teaspoons in water. about 20 minutes before meals. Now listen, this is not magic. There is no magic. But for many people, it helps reduce appetite and blood sugar spikes. Another thing nobody tells overweight people: walking after meals is incredibly powerful, especially dinner. But even a slow 10-minute walk after eating can completely change how your body feels. Simple. Again, simple. You know what shocked me most during my transformation? Fat loss became easier when I stopped trying to lose weight quickly. Most overweight people are carrying years of failed attempts inside them. That pain becomes heavy. Every failed diet whispers, "Here we go again." I know that feeling. I lived it. You do not need another punishment plan. You need a system gentle enough to survive bad days. Because bad days will happen. Stress happens. Life happens. This is why walking is so powerful. Walking meets you where you are, old, young, heavy. Walking says, start anyway. And eventually, those walks become identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying to lose weight," and start becoming a person who moves daily. That changes everything psychologically. So instead, I focused on one daily non-negotiable: walking. That was my anchor habit. And once walking became automatic, everything else improved. That is why in my free guide, you are not lazy, you are overloaded. I do not tell people to become fitness machines overnight. I help them reduce overwhelm, simplify fat loss, rebuild confidence, create momentum slowly, stop the self-hatred cycle. Because transformation starts mentally first, always. And honestly, some of you watching this right now do not need motivation anymore. You need relief. Relief from guilt, relief from shame, relief from constantly feeling behind. Relief from guilt, relief from shame, relief from constantly feeling behind. That is what WALKBURN is really about. Not six-pack abs. Freedom. Freedom from exhaustion. Freedom from food controlling your emotions. Freedom from feeling trapped inside your own body. That freedom starts smaller than people think. One walk, one better choice. One honest day. That is how momentum begins. Quietly. That is how momentum begins. Quietly. And here's another thing that helped me massively. Protein, not obsessive protein. Just enough protein to stay fuller longer. Because hunger destroys consistency, and consistency matters more than perfection. The goal is sustainability. Never forget that. Also, sleep. Most overweight people underestimate how much bad sleep affects fat loss. Poor sleep increases cravings. Sometimes people do not need more cardio, they need more recovery. And yes, walking improves sleep too. Another reason it changes lives. And yes, walking improves sleep too. Another reason it changes lives. And if you're over 40, listen carefully. You are not doomed. Your metabolism is not broken forever. Your life is not over. But your strategy must become smarter. Lower stress, more walking, more recovery, better habits, more patience. That combination is unbelievably powerful long-term. Stop humiliating yourself. Discipline grows better in respect than in hatred. Never forget that. I need you to hear this carefully. Your body can still change, even now. But the path must become realistic. That is why WALKBURN works. Not because it is extreme, because it is repeatable. Repeatable habits beat intense motivation every single time. One walk, one better meal, one better night of sleep. Repeated for months. That changes a human being completely. Download the free guide below. You are not lazy. You are overloaded. And start rebuilding your body one simple step at a time. Walk, burn, repeat.